Hi, I'm Ruth, the Resilience Coordinator at Manchester Mind. My role is all about helping people manage challenges and changes in their lives, and I've been working for Mind in Manchester for 10 years now, running our programme for people with long-term physical conditions and our mindfulness programme, our 8-week mindfulness courses. I myself live with rheumatoid arthritis, and I was diagnosed with that around 20 years ago now. So I was in my early 30s, and I really struggled emotionally with the impact of being diagnosed with a long-term, quite chronic condition, which really impacted my day-to-day life. I was never really offered any psychological support, and I struggled emotionally. Eventually, I found myself on a course for people living with long-term chronic illness that was teaching mindfulness and meditation, and it quite literally changed my life. I learned tools and techniques that have not only helped me cope with the impact of chronic pain, fatigue, the unpredictability of that condition, but also eventually learned how to teach it to others. So I've been running our Mindfulness for Stress program for 8 years, but about 7 years ago actually, I started to experience symptoms that weren't related to my health condition. I was waking up at 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I wasn't particularly stressed at the time, but I couldn't get back to sleep. I'd be lying awake for about an hour and a half at a time, and then eventually get back to sleep. Around the same time, I was getting other strange things going on. So I had chronic tendonitis in my Achilles, which really impacted on my exercise and my mobility, and sort of various of other kind of specified things were going on. About 5 years ago, right in the middle of COVID, I also started to get heart palpitations, and that was weird, that was new. I didn't want to bother GPs, obviously there was a lot going on, it really was right in the middle of lockdown. So I turned to kind of Dr. Google and discovered that I was in the middle of something called perimenopause. And at that point, I'd never even heard the term before. Davina's documentary hadn't been made, nobody was talking about it. When I Googled a bit more and did a bit more research, I found that there were so many symptoms associated with perimenopause, and I started to recognise that I had quite a few of them myself. I then realised that the mindfulness and meditation techniques that had helped me live better and enjoy my life more since learning them were totally applicable for menopause as well. And I started to put our mindfulness program together. I couldn't find anything offering women support through perimenopause and menopause. There just wasn't anything out there. So I felt that our course was going to be really important, and I've been running that now for 5 years. Now, I could have just offered our Mindfulness for Stress program just for menopausal, perimenopausal women, but the more research I did, the more I realised that women needed a little bit more. So as well as the mindfulness meditations and those practices that have been in mindfulness courses for a very long time, which we know help with low mood, we know help with stress, I've also included what I call rescue remedies. So these are techniques, little tools that we can use in those moments when we feel anxiety start to rise, overwhelmed, frustrated, or just inability to cope with the present moment. I've also included a yoga sequence that I learned off a teacher of mine, one to do before bed, and a deeper relaxation in the final week. Now, all of those practices I know have been really helpful. We've seen loads of women go through the course over the last 5 years, but also really important is the space to support and share with each other. Not all women are going through menopause at the same time as their friends, their colleagues, their peers, or at the same speed. They might be experiencing really different symptoms. So just offering women the space to come together to support and share has also been really important. Over the last 5 years, we felt that the course has been really popular, really successful, and it's great that Mind in Salford are also offering the programme as well, so we can offer it out to more women. Overall, we found that women tell us that they feel better in themselves, so their mood has improved, their ability to manage the symptoms of menopause has improved. They feel the impact of the symptoms aren't quite as strong as they did before, and for some women, some of the symptoms have reduced as well, because we know that stress makes menopause symptoms worse, so if we can get on top of our stress, then some of our menopause symptoms might ease. So that's a kind of brief introduction to the Mindfulness for Menopause course, but also to myself and kind of motivation, why I put it together and why I'm really passionate about running this program.